benvenuti nella giungla dei graffiti. Questo è Impostore Rockstar. It's a podcast. Sono il tuo capo. E sono Chief Gihareh, Julius Caesar Augustus. Third. So we are going to do a recap, review, reaction to Samurai Champloo, episode 5. Now, I told you around episode 3, 4 didn't have it because 4 was connected to, was an extension of episode 3. But around episode 3, it was, a couple elements that were just like, this is what's probably going to happen and go from there. So, let's see here. But what were the elements I said? You know what I'm saying? They're going to get hungry, gonna need some food, split up, food get kidnapped, they come back together. That episode 5. Episode 5. All that happens in episode 5. So, the motivation for this one, the motivation, and again, the way Mugen goes about whatchamacallit, and the way Gene goes about, you know what I'm saying, all of this. So, let's see. Starts off, the motivation is that they need money to get across this water, this body of water. So, what you got to pay for the ferry or whatever, you got to pay to get on the boat to get across the water. So, let me, oh, let me, I actually whatchamacallit. You got to pay the boat fee to get across the water. There's that, right? That's the thing. So, that's the first one. Then, so that's that's the motivation that starts to show off. They at the water by the boat. Can you pay? Yeah, got discount. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. But then they also got to get hungry. But oh well. Immediately now is they split up, and so but the goal is everybody go your own way, but try to find some money for the boat. You know what I'm saying? Everybody goes off on their own way. That the goal that's supposed to be the goal, kind of sort of maybe, right? So again, Mugen is he's just a more skilled, person. He however reckless he may be, and so he he gets into a skirmish with like 3 people, takes their money. Oh, okay, before this, whatchamacallit, take a step back. They were eating. They so, but this is how they get the food. Food is talking to this guy. The guy supposedly has a crush on her, or he's like, "I'll get you whatever you want." This and the third. So food, they using food how they do. So food was like, the guy's looking at food. He's like, "Yeah, I will get you whatever you want," and she was like, 20 squid with something and da da da. Uh, that's how Mugen and Jean get food. But then they go off to Mugen and Jean then leave food there, and they have to go get them. They gotta get the money. So Mugen and Jean go out their separate ways for the money. Food stays there. Now the guy that she's sitting there supposedly flirting with, talking to, he's an artist and he's a painter. He's an artist and he's a painter. And so while this whole thing is happening, this with food, getting the food from the guy, and her giving it to Mugen and Jane, that's how they're able to eat before they go off. There's also a cop. He was like, "Yeah, I heard about, a lot of girls going missing in the, trafficking. Yeah, it's that type of thing." He was like, "A lot of girls going missing." And so he kind of peeped like what's going on. So there's that. And then, so that happens early. The guy's like, "Yeah, girls be going missing this and that third," and they all have a similar story pattern, this and that third, right? So there's that. Mugen runs into 3 guys. He beats them up, takes their money. He beats them up, takes their money. So that's the thing, right? He beats them up, takes their money. But he doesn't know who they're technically like working for. So remember, that's kind of sort of like the whole scheme with this show. Like I told you on episode 3, I was like, it's certain things that kind of happened, and they all kind of come together. I told you the whole food they already squashed the food thing. They split up, food get kidnapped, and then they somehow come back together. Like that's just a thing, right? So Mugen has a fight with those 3 guys. Mugen has a fight with the 3 guys, right? That's one. Then what else? He has a fight with the 3 guys, takes their money. They go back to their boss. Their boss is a lady. She on some, uh, what you mean? You somebody done took your money and it's done the third. She was like, don't come, don't. But she basically throw some more money at the dude and was like, pick it up. You know what I'm saying? And she sent him back out. So Mugen, that's Mugen's part, right? But he take the money that he get from the 3 guys. He takes that money and spends it on some more food. You know what I'm saying? So he ain't whatchamacallit. Gene. Now, Gene goes out. He ends up, he has this conversation. It's like a small, quick conversation, but he's like, well, why are European ships coming here? European ships should go only to Nagasaki and this and the third. Mind you, girls are going missing, trafficking, this and the third, right? So he's like, he has this conversation with this guy who's just like, whatchamacallit. And so it's not chess or checkers. It's chess, not checkers. I don't know what they playing or whatever. It's almost like dominoes, you can kind of think. But they end up, whatchamacallit, right? It's, they, he calls a move out. He says something like B5 something, right? He calls a move out. And so the guy's like, play me. And he was like, let's make a wager. Now, the wager that they make, it just like, okay. It is, he says, if you win, the guy, because Gene was like, I ain't got no money to bet you in this and third. Dude was like, no worries, I got money. But he was like, if not, if you lose, you gotta give me your life. And it's like, you work for me for. I'm like, it's that type of jump. But again, you never really know how like things are like super way back in the day and like how bored people are and with power and you keeping your word and money and all of this stuff, right? So there's that. So Gene ends up playing the guy and over with the wager for this and the third. The guy was cheating too. So at one point, he was like, oh, it's getting dark. So whatchamacallit, right? He was like, it's getting dark. So maybe we should play this tomorrow. We should pick back up tomorrow. And as he gets up, he kicks the thing over. Gene picks it up, puts all the pieces back where they were. And the guy was like, oh, well, wasn't this supposed to be right here? Gene like, yeah, right. Like, so the dude cheating, you know what I'm saying? Gene's beating him and dude cheating. That's another thing. Now, we kind of left off Fu, right? Remember, Fu was flirting with the artist guy in the beginning. So the artist guy is sitting there talking to and so now they go back to his place, you know? And so the dude's like, he says, you know, he draws her one time and he's like, it's just not right. You know, trying to finesse. And he was like, you gotta take this down a little more. And she's like, he's like, no, I'm not, nothing like that. It's just, I'm trying to make sure it's right. Just right there, right? He's like, oh, please don't think of me this way. He's like, it's just silly. So, is that. So after that, but she does it. She a little lower, you know what I'm saying? Then he starts doing a picture. He does the picture again. Then he's like, it's done. And then when he's done with the picture, the 3 guys that Mugen like beat up in the beginning, they barge in. And it was like, well, looky here, right? And then, of course, what happens? I told you, it's just an element, it's a thing. Let's go. It's an element, it's a thing. Fool gets kidnapped. It's just a thing, right? It's a thing. It happens. This is episode 5. Fool gets kidnapped, right? So she gets kidnapped. Let me see if I want to use this one. I got 2. So they put her in the barrel. All right. So I just want to show you. So the artist was painting her, and then the 3 guys that Mugen, remember again, like how they all the story is how they all come back together. Mugen had beat the three guys up, and so those are the three guys that end up coming in, taking her. They take her, put her inside a barrel, right? They take Fu and put her inside of a barrel. So Fu is kidnapped. There, all right. Fu is kidnapped. Now we gotta now we have to tie this all up and end this, right? So where do we go from here? So turns out the artist guy does come back to try to like help her or save her. And so mind you, also in the beginning, there was a cop who was like, yo, this stuff been going on, and who's like kind of been on the trail of like picking out how the whole scheme works down. Mind you, Fu was in a barrel. So technically what was happening was Fu was in a barrel, and so what they would do is they would find the girls or whatever. The artist would, talk to them, this, and that, third, and then, that happens, one thing leads to another, then they come in, da da da. Now, the artist used to paint the girls, right? The girls, they'll put them in a barrel, and they was like, well, why are these European ships over here? And they usually just go to Nagasaki. That's the whole thing. So there was that. And then after that, so basically that's how the scheme worked. The scheme worked was like the artist would like be that one point he would paint them, they would get them, they'll be in the barrel, and then the ship comes, they put the barrels on the ship, and then it goes out, right? And the other thing, the artist used to have these pictures, and people would look at the pictures like, oh, I like this one, or I like that one. You know what I'm saying? So that's how people kind of sort of like, I hope you can connect the dots here, right? The artist would paint these girls, and then it would turn into like a catalog, a booklet that people could like choose from. So there was that. And then outside of that, anything else? Okay. Now, how does this whole thing start to whatchamacallit? Because Fu's kidnapped, Fu's whatchamacallit. Gene. So basically, Mugen, so mind you, this is like that night one type of thing. Mugen and Jean come back and like, yo, where Fu at? You know what I'm saying? Where's she? You know what I'm saying? Why she ain't da-da-da? And he was like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So Mugen does eventually go to look for her. When he was chasing one of those guys, he had kind of like ran past her and the artist. So he goes back there and they're like, okay, she's not here. Then Mugen goes to look for her at the next little spot. So it's like he goes to the artist spot, she's not there, and then where they have all these barrels, right here where they have all the barrels and whatnot, he goes there, and then he goes to the barrels, he goes there, and so when they were loading up the ship, there was one barrel that was a little too heavy, right? It was one barrel that was a little too heavy. So when they get to where all the barrels were, Mugen's like, they get in there, it's like, oh man, I guess we just missed them. The one barrel, then all of a sudden, the cop guy, right? He hops out of that one last barrel. That was a barrel that was too heavy. He was like, oh man, I must have just missed him. So then they started running down the side of the sidewalk on the river, and they catch up to the boat. And then, again, the same three guys that Mugen beat up in the beginning and was, you know what I'm saying, they're on the whatchamacallit again, like, oh no, not you again. Mugen gets onto the ship, beats them up again, and then that's how they get Fu back. And then after that, this all ends up right back in front of the shop. And so Gene ends up beating the shop owner, the one who also made him that bet. And at the same time, Gene beats him. The cop is like, you're busted. I know that this is an undercover operation and scheme. I've been following you for this long. She's a witness. This is proof. And that this is what's been going on. And the whole thing is a cover-up. And so then that's basically how the cop basically like takes them. And so then the way that the last little piece of as the guy's getting arrested, because the guy was basically outside the shop. He had gold fronts and the teeth, and he was just playing like the little whatchamacallit. His wife was, I don't know what she was, I guess like the other little part of the ringleader in the shop, and then they had little minions, I guess, I don't know. But Gene does beat that guy, and so as they're arresting him, he's like, "Here, take this." So Gene gets the money, like of food. Food did get them food. Mugen did end up like he didn't get a lot of money, but he got some money. But he spent that money on food, and he just got a little bit of something. But Gene ends up basically getting the food that whatchamacallit. I'm trying to remember if there was any. I'm trying to remember who was Gene. Mugen was chasing some guy around, and so he started chopping the stuff through the bookstore up. But I forget who he was chasing. It might have been one. It probably was the one guy that he had beat up like already in the show. Yeah, Mugen, Gene. Does Gene fight at all? I don't think. I'm trying to figure out if Gene fought this episode at all, even if it was short. But I know Mugen was running around chasing a guy through the bookstore, and yeah, uh, Mugen was running around chasing a guy through the bookstore. But I don't think Gene fought this episode. Fool got kidnapped for sure. Yeah, I don't think I don't think Mugen fought this episode. So that was this episode. They got the money for the whatchamacallit. Oh, well, the only other little uh and this is one of those I'm not really sure about if, the validity of it, but this was just one of the small things how it started this episode and then it brought it back towards the end of the episode. So I think one of the other things they try to do, like, because mind you, one of the characters in this was an artist, and so the artist says that he's going to go to this other. He's leaving this one place. He's going somewhere else. But he's not coming back until his art gets the respect that it deserves, right? So that's what he says at the end of this. Now this is just another little aside. Like in Cowboy Bebop, there is a session that go where Faye gets the cassette tapes. No. Where Faye was unfrozen. Oh, Faye's Funny Valentine, whatever. That one, right? It's a session where Faye talks about when she got unfrozen. And when they finally locked that guy up, and he says to her, like, nah, I actually did like you or something like that. He said, it's something along those lines or whatever. And she's like, what'd you say? And he was like, nah, nothing. There's nothing. She's like, yeah, all right. And so it had something similar to that effect on this one. And the artist was like, yo, like, I really did have these types of feelings for you or whatever. So he said, I really did have these types of feelings for you or whatever. But I'm going to travel the world. I'm not coming back until my art gets the respect that it deserves. I'm just going to, focus on my art. And he had painted a picture of her, and it had like, they had this interaction before where she was looking at his art, and she had liked the one that had like, it was like out of all of them, this one stood out. I think it had like a koi fish and a sunflower or something. And she had noticed it, and she pointed that out, and he was like, people usually don't notice like that picture and what they notice and stuff like that. So he had painted a picture of her with like sunflowers and this, that, and the third. And so the reason I'm mentioning this is because the way they end the episode is they say that, that artist never made it to that destination that he was trying to whatchamacallit. And then the artwork ended up somehow making its way to like Vincent Van Gogh. And Van Gogh saw this artwork, and that's what inspired Van Gogh's work with, some type of sunflowers or whatever. and that work really inspired Van Gogh. And so they had started the episode with this little with talking about like some types of paintings, and they showed this painting in like a room or something, and it was like, well, Van Gogh's inspiration came from this artist who never really made it, but their work traveled that far, and it came and somehow it got across his desk, and then all of a sudden like that inspired him. So that was the last little bit of it. Started it, and then that ended it. That was just like this little cultural reference, and like they throw stuff in there. It's like whether it's true or not, the validity of it. Just shut up and watch the show or something like that. They be saying stuff like that. So um, this was Cat. Look, I was ready. What you call. This is Samurai Champloo, episode 5. This is Samurai Champloo, episode 5. Now again, I just said I noticed on it's like this is good because I called it out on episode 3. There's a couple elements here. They get hungry, they split up, Pooh get kidnapped, they come back together. Mugen uses his power. He's just like a bully, I guess. He gets some food, the sanitary. And Gene is more like cool, chill, like he'll end up on the chill side of things. I don't think Gene fought this episode, but those are things. Those are things. So, um, we'll see what happens on episode 6. The only other little whatchamacallit that's just a little, just kind of sort of, and this is one of those, for instance, what's up, JoJo? This is one of those instances where, like, Avatar: The Last Airbender, you knew where they were heading. You knew where a character, where a group, like you knew where they were heading, where they were trying to go, what they were trying to do, right? Whereas on this one, I know they get on the boat, but I don't know where they're going. That is just another whatchamacallit. That is my only with this one. I'm just not sure where they're headed, why they headed this direction, that direction, whatever they're doing, bro. But I took a couple. Whatchamacallits. Again, I didn't wake up in time to design some shirts today. I didn't wake up in time to design some shirts today, but uh, I think may have added like one or two more, like stuff that I just probably just kind of sort of need to edit, and even one from this one where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take this and like we'll turn this into a, what you gonna call it. It's not as and right now again, but if you even seen how like the bebop, uh, uh the bebop designs kind of went and got a little bit more complex and just like a recapping this and a third one. But still not of that essence just yet. But this one is going to be like a little bit more, and so this one I'll title this one episode 5. I'll title this one episode 5. But oh no, I think that's the next little piece that needs to like be like distinguished to find something. Like they traveling. That's like for sure, right? They're traveling. They're traveling, but I don't know where they're going. I don't know where they're going. They just be trying to keep it moving. They split up and then boom. Um, oh, there's that. There's that. It's now technically Sunday. It is now. Let me check. It is now Sunday. It is October 5th. It is now Sunday, October 5th. It is now Sunday, October 5th. So, that is episode 5. Recap, review, reaction, Samurai